25 to 5 on a Friday afternoon, and of course that means it's time to talk dollars and cents with none other than Luke Smith from Envision Financial. I always called you Luke Envision.
I've been called worse, so you know what? It's
Luke Smith from Envision Financial here to talk about dollars and cents once again on a Friday afternoon. I got to say, I was reading an article this morning that Australian Super wants to change the way we access our own money and get an income stream when we retire, because apparently the federal government is awaiting the outcome of a review being conducted by a lawyer called Michelle Levy into the problems facing the financial advice sector. Apparently, the biggest problem, Luke, is that given the number of people who are going to retire in the next 15 years, there's not enough financial advisors to go around.
Yeah, and like most things, the legislation and the changes have gone so far, they went so far into Stupidsville that the provision of advice has got a lot more expensive, because people like me have to adhere to lunacy in relation to a range of things that need to be done. And I think something needs to be normalised, and that's what the review has been sort of commissioned to do. So we're having a review, a change. This industry's been in a state of flux since probably 2008, 2009. But you should be able to provide affordable advice to the public when they need it most, given the ageing population issues that we have. And at the moment, unfortunately, with what certain government parties have instilled and required over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, it's made it almost impossible to provide what should otherwise be simple, affordable advice. Because they say that in one sentence, but then say address A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, when you just came in for B. So I think if we can bring that back to how can I help you, here it is.
Yeah.
I know I use the medical analogy often. If I go to the doctor with a broken arm and say, can you fix my arm? He fixes my arm. He doesn't ask me for a full body scan to check and see if I've got melanoma. And that's where our industry has failed the consumer. It's a holistic, must cover everything approach for fear of missing something, than actually just giving people the advice that they need in a costly and appropriate manner.
Okay. Now, apparently Australian Super has suggested there should be some sort of automatic default mechanism for people to transition from accumulation phase into income phase to help deal with this lack of financial advisors in the future. But you just told me before the program that really you can do it yourself if you want to.
Oh, look, starting an income stream is as simple as calling your fund and saying, can I have the paperwork to start a pension, please? And it's a case of ticking. Have you met a condition of release, which is set by age under legislation? Have you retired? Do you intend to work again? How much would you like? Where would you like it paid? Sign. That's it. That is all you have to do to start an income stream. So again, it's not something that I think is it's not accessible to your average person, because the mechanics of actually doing it are very, very simple. I just think from a literacy standpoint, people can become a little bit more aware of the general rules. And if they understood the general rules, then I think they could definitely do that very simply and very easily to start one. The mechanics of what's underneath and all of the other strategies, yes, then you're probably going to need some help. But to just say, from next Monday, I'd like a pension out of my super, it is as simple as filling out a 1 or 2 page document and sending it to your provider, and they will facilitate that for you.
Now, this kind of brings us back into today's topic, which is who have you got on your team and what do they offer you? And of course, the captain of your team, when we're talking about money matters, is going to be your financial advisor, isn't he?
Well, I think exactly. I think it's a united front, and I think that's what I want people to just keep in mind, that so often I have people come in and they are foiled through their own best intentions because of assumptions that are completely inaccurate. And that could be confusing retirement age for the age pension age.
Right.
What does retirement mean? Can I take an income stream out of super over the age of 65 and keep working? Simple things for somebody like me. But like in any occupation, when you do something every day, you understand the mechanics of what's happening. But people can find this information out very easily because it is all legislated.
Yes.
So my role is to try and generate an income stream to fund the way you want to live considering the risk profile you're happy to take on. And we've talked about other shows, well, what does balance mean? And that'll be a question for the ages. But I then engage with accountants, I then engage with mortgage brokers, I then engage with family lawyers. I engage with any third party that specialises in something that someone needs to achieve the outcome that they're after. And that's why, today I thought it's becoming increasingly frustrating that people try and go on their own to their own detriment. Like I saw a lady yesterday, she didn't understand about personal deductible contributions, she didn't understand about super splitting, and she didn't understand about transition to retirement. And there'll be people out there that go, oh, so simple.
Yes.
There'll be other people going, what are they and how do they work? But over the next 2 years, there was $10,000 to $14,000 of tax benefit and interest savings that she could take advantage of using the resources that she already had.
Mm-hmm.
But had started the conversation by saying, I thought about doing those, but I don't have the ability to do them.
Yes.
And in about half an hour, she said, well, I can do A, B, and C. But she'd assumed, rightly or wrongly, she'd assumed something wasn't appropriate for her. So get people around you that can help. If people are negative, or people want to lead with, oh, you can't do that, that'll never work, I don't believe that's right, get rid of them. All right, because...
Oh, so now we're moving out of the realm of professional advice. We're talking about your circle of friends now.
Well, let's lump everybody in together, right? Because a lot of people are impacted by or influenced by their social group.
Yeah.
Because people come in to me, sit down and say, can I retire?
Yeah.
And I say, what do you need to live on? And they go, I don't know. What do my friends do? That's their first point of reference. My friends told me they need this. Well, that's great, but that doesn't help you. So if you've got professionals that you've engaged, get them around you to help you. Get a good mortgage broker, get a good accountant, get a good family lawyer, get a criminal lawyer, get a commercial lawyer, whatever you need to manage your asset base. Because as we said in a previous show with an accountant, you could be missing out on deductions and other changes in legislation that you're not aware of. So use people around you that you trust, that have a good attitude, that are consistent, that are accountable for their actions, and have confidence in the decisions that you're making, because 90% of the time, people know what they want to do. They just want the clarity and confirmation that it's right for them. So if you do have those social groups, and that person in that social group, or that person that you play golf with, on a Saturday morning who thinks the world's going to end every day of his life, they may not be the person to have on your team, because that can start influencing your belief and your attitude to doing something. Oh, I'm going to finish here and go out and have a business doing X. Oh, that'll never work. And you ask that person, have you ever done it? Oh, well, no, okay, so thanks for your input. Get people around you that are positive. Get people around you that will support you. Get people around you that won't say yes. I'm very fortunate. I've got a group of mates that keep you 24/7 grounded. Because if you pop your head up and say something stupid, they will very kindly and lovingly slice it off. Mm-hmm. So it's important to have that around you, because as your situation changes and businesses evolve and your life evolves and cash flow changes and your dreams, goals, aspirations all build out to something different, you need those people around you to keep you in check. Because if you surround yourself with people that think everything's amazing, you could also be on a bullet train to disaster. So take with caution the feedback that you get from everybody, but also then keep in mind those people that you really do trust the most, and then use their experiences and their references to either address problems that you're finding, address things that are on the horizon, or then use your experiences to help somebody else get through something that they may not know is coming. Because I know me personally, I've been very fortunate that I've had a very good group of people that I could lean on, who, from a business perspective, were 3 years down the road to me, and they're going through what I was going through. Because a lot of the time, your problems and your concerns and your questions, they're not unique. It's just like when you were at school, nobody wants to put their hand up for fear of being called out. So use the people around you. Don't go it alone, because going it alone can be more expensive and more dangerous than engaging people, even at a cost, to give you the peace of mind you may want to move forward in a positive direction.
So in many ways, we're sort of expanding out from financial advice here, just moving into the territory of life advice. They say misery loves company. If you're hanging around with people who are miserable all the time, guess what? You're going to be miserable. So
yeah, it's
if you want to be more cheerful, hang out with people who are more cheerful. If you want to be successful, hang out with people who are successful and learn from them. Any book that you might have ever picked up about being successful or managing your finances is going to talk to you in that book about having the right advisors, the group of mentors, the people that you associate. They might have different ways of describing it and different terminology for it, but it all comes back to the same advice. If you don't know the answer to something yourself, find somebody who does know the answer. And it goes back to the old thing that Henry Ford was asked a question that he couldn't answer, and somebody tried to criticise him for not knowing the answer. He said, it doesn't matter if I don't know the answer, I can hire the bloke who does.
Yeah, exactly right. And I guess that's, for me as the person that sees the retail consumer sit down in front of me and want the best for their situation, or regularly somebody comes in, sits down and says, I just want to make sure I'm not missing out on any opportunities or things that I could do to put myself in a better position in the next 2, 5, 10 years. And that for me screams out, I really love some help. I just don't know where to go to get it, because I'm not the answer for everything. And I'll then send people to people that I know and trust, because that can give you the tools or the information that you need to complete the loop and get the things that you're after. Because ultimately, I'm in the business of peace of mind. That's it.
So Luke, where do you see people maybe sometimes miss the mark when assembling their team?
So one, they try and go it on their own and do everything themselves.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the greatest waste of people's resources and time. Not recording or keeping track of where they actually want to go. I find people get frustrated because they get wishy-washy answers because they asked wishy-washy questions. So understand what your goals are, understand what your objectives are, put some time frames around them, and do some planning and hold yourself through others accountable for the things that happen. Don't get too many yes people around you. Too many people telling you everything's amazing can be horribly misleading and give you this false sense of confidence.
Yeah, there is a difference, isn't there, between somebody who's positive and somebody who always says yes.
Correct, exactly right. And I say I'm very fortunate that I've got people around me by choice that will slap you across the face, for use of a better analogy, when you are getting a little outlandish or something that's a little bit silly, and they can just bring you back to sort of earth so that you can keep making good decisions. Get advice from the right areas. And what I mean by that is, you wouldn't ask a plumber for electrical advice, and vice versa.
Exactly.
So don't assume that because somebody did something that it is or isn't relevant for you, or it is or isn't, a good decision to make. Get it from a trusted source, not so much Google or, what Jenny said at Mahjong on a Tuesday afternoon. Go to a trusted source for that clarity, because not knowing could cost you a lot of money without you even realizing. Or you've assumed, as I said earlier, you've assumed you can do this when you actually can or you can't, but you need to get it from a trusted source. And don't listen to the people that say you can't do things, especially if they haven't had the backbone to try and do it themselves. Because in today's society, unfortunately, people are very quick to jump to the negative, whether it's online, social media, or anywhere, and everybody's a professional at everything, having probably not had any experience themselves. So if you're going to be influenced by people, get the right people around you to move you forward in the right direction, but also to keep you in check and keep things on an even keel, because nothing's easy, and you get out of something what you put into it.
10 to 5 on 2CC Canberra Live, and Luke Smith from Envision Financials with me in the studio. Today we're talking about who have you got on your team and what do they offer you? Well, hopefully good advice. We'll be back with more in just a moment. help you out. Meanwhile, today we've been talking about who have you got on your team and what do they offer you. So, Luke, what are the key things to remember when you are assembling the Avengers?
So if I was going to make a list,
Oh, you didn't like that. I was doing a Marvel superheroes reference.
you're too quick for me on a Friday, mate. It's too hot in here. My brain's not working. Have people around you with experience and use it. I find having reaching out and asking somebody to help, even if you don't know them. You know, you mentioned before the ad break the importance of that mentor capacity.
Exactly.
And you find most professionals in a field that have experience are more than happy to share their experiences personally, professionally, point you in the right direction, answer queries and questions. It's something that can add huge value to you starting out or just gathering information in a particular area that you want to move into. I think ask as many questions as you can, and for the mums and dads out there, don't assume. Assuming can be extremely expensive, and there's nothing more frustrating, and was one of the reasons that, you know, this show exists, because I got really tired of people saying, so I should have been doing this 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 2 years ago. I didn't know I could, which is one of the biggest drivers that you and I are sitting here today. Remove the negativity. Don't get feedback from people that hate their life. You don't know what's going on in their life. They don't know what's going on in your life. They don't know what your goals are. Don't listen to people that think the world's going to end, because their negativity can be contagious. And as you said, misery likes company.
Yes, it does.
So get a good people around you that are positive and supportive, but also don't agree blindly, because that can also be quite dangerous, as we said.
Yeah.
And make sure that if you're going into something and committing to something, that you accept you are going to work hard, and then a little bit harder. Because if everything was easy, as they say, everybody would do it. So if you're passionate about something and you want to achieve a goal, set it down, make it attainable. And as we've said in previous shows, don't make something a 12-month goal. Make it 3 months and then repeat. Review it and execute it, like any good sporting team. You train all week, you play on the weekend. Then you review it, and then you improve your training to get a better outcome the next week. Your finances are no different. Get the right professional around you, get some help. If you need to pay for it, the tax deductible cost in 99% of situations will be well worth the information that you attain, for nothing more than the peace of mind of knowing that you aren't missing out on anything. And that old adage is very, very true. The harder you work, the luckier you will get, especially around your social group.
So, Luke, where can listeners get more information?
Yeah, so the office number is 62604749. We've got the web, envisionfinancial.com.au. We've got the podcast, the Strategy Stacker, Luke Talks Money on iTunes and Spotify. We've got the YouTube channel Envision Financial Canberra. We've got YouTube Shorts. We've got the Strategy Stacker on TikTok. And we've got the Smart Money Strategy, the ultimate guide to financial planning, coming out in March, which will cover off everything we've spoken about this afternoon and a raft of other things that we cover off on a weekly basis.
Sensational stuff, Luke. Thanks very much.
See you next week.
We'll have you back in the studio again at the same time next Friday afternoon. Once again, Luke Smith from Envision Financial with more good old common sense and financial advice.